Mia Queen, or Mia Smoak, whichever you want to call her, is literally the most controversial character in the Arrowverse right now. Some people even go as far as saying she is the worst Arrowverse character in history. But the question is, why? What is good, YouTube? Hopefully you're all having a good day. Welcome back to the CW DC TV podcast. We took a week break. I'm joined yet again by Declan McKinney. Ben from the DC TV show was unable to make it today, so hopefully he'll be able to come on next week. But thanks, Ben, for coming on again. Did I call you Ben? I called you Ben.
Yes, you did.
Declan, thanks, Declan, for coming on again.
No problem at all.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, as you guys know from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Mia Queen or Mia Smoak. In fact, let me know down below in the comments, do you think it's Mia Queen or Mia Smoak? I prefer Mia Queen, but what do you guys prefer to call her? Let me know in the
I
comments.
prefer Homewrecker.
Homewrecker. Okay.
No Destroyer, whatever, you know.
Yeah. She has many names. Okay, so we're gonna do things a little bit differently today. Usually we'll talk about the shows, we'll give a review. We might get to that a bit later on. We'll see. I'm just going on the fly here. But we're gonna talk about Mia Queen specifically. Now, Declan, you have some things you want to get off your chest regarding Mia Queen. Now, I'm gonna give the floor to you.
Right, here we go. So, Mia, when she was first introduced, like, back in season 7 when they first brought her in, it was like, there was like a mystery surrounding her character. It was like, oh, who is she? You know, who she's related to, even though it was so obvious that it was Felicity and Oliver's daughter. But the problem was is that I didn't like her last season because I thought, I wasn't a fan of the performance. I thought that, it's not Kat. Kat's not the problem. And I see a lot of people online giving Kat, you know, a lot of abuse and things like that. Kat's not the issue. Although I don't feel like Kat is the best suited for the role, she's not a bad actress. I'm not going to say that about her because it's just not true. The problem is that the writers, from the get-go, have written this character to be overly confident, overly entitled, and overly cocky. And, you know, she is very much trying to be like a badass, and she's super hard and things like that. And the problem with that is that, for one, this character has just been established and there's no evidence to really support that. And two, Kat is not right for that kind of role. Anytime that we see Mia portray any other kind of emotion than that, I actually think Kat does okay. It's when she tries to be the super hard badass where she really falls flat for me and kind of comes across as really cringy and trying too hard. So that's just my thoughts in regards to Kat. Like, I don't think she's the issue. I think it comes down to the writing. Now, speaking about this season, my biggest fear going into this season was that it was going to be too focused on setting up Crisis and that we weren't going to actually wrap up the story of Arrow, but that's not been the case at all. What I really should have been worried about is the show focusing too much on setting up the spin-off. The whole idea that Mia is kind of coming in and, you know, getting her own spin-off show off this, like, we found out recently that, you know, when Kat was first brought onto the show, she was basically promised in her contract that she was going to be getting her own show. And this is just a massive issue for me, that this show, you know, season 8 is really, really focusing on Mia and building her up as this character, because it's taking a lot of time away from other important characters who have been here from the beginning. And a perfect example of this comes in this week's episode. In this week's episode, we have a sub-story with Diggle working with Roy. And obviously Roy is going through some issues at the moment in regards to his bloodlust, and basically the whole conversation that Diggle is having with Roy is that, you know, if you come back to the team, we can help you, you know, you actually end up in the future getting over your bloodlust, controlling it and things like that, but it'll happen much sooner if you don't isolate yourself. And these were good scenes. I liked these scenes. And I think that it was really good for Diggle to have these moments, because Diggle is, you know, kind of the moral center of the team. He's the heart of the show, if you will. But it came across as a bit fake to me, because the problem with it is that Diggle and Roy never really had that relationship on the show. They were close, don't get me wrong, but they weren't at the position that Oliver and Roy were. Like, Oliver was Roy's mentor. He was the one who had that really close bond with Roy. Diggle never really had that. So for Diggle to have these scenes with Roy, came across as a bit weird. It kind of came across as a bit strange to have Diggle being the one saying these lines. Because in my opinion, it should have been Oliver saying these lines. And why couldn't Oliver say those lines? Because he was too busy with Mia. This whole story could have been really good and really interesting if it was Oliver and Roy, but they had to take Oliver out of this entire storyline so he could be with Mia and William. And that's my problem here. This is what I'm saying about it focusing too much. We could have had a great little story arc there with Oliver and Roy, the trainee and the mentor kind of thing. Not that Roy's a trainee anymore, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. But instead, we had to really focus on Oliver, like, training her and having to go on this mission with her, and how awful she was in this episode. It just annoys me because it's like we have so much potential here to go and like really flesh out some of these characters for the last season here. Characters like Laurel, Diggle, these characters who have been here from the beginning, but we're focusing so much on William, and it's just taking away from what made this show special. And I don't like the fact that it's focusing so much on this new show, which all this setup that it's doing. It has its own show to do that in. Why are we focusing it so much on Arrow when it should be wrapping up its own story? It's really getting on my nerves now. It didn't annoy me so much at first when the flash forwards were separate, but now that they've come into the present day, it's really taking up a lot of screen time, and I don't really like where it's going.
Wow, that was about 5 minutes.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was good. Okay, so before I give my thoughts on Mia, do you think she's the worst Arrowverse character?
No, I think she's not Donna Smoak.
Donna Smoak.
She's not Donna Smoak. Like, credit where it's due. She's not Donna Smoak.
Fair enough. Like, definitely for me, she's definitely not the worst Arrowverse character.
No,
and
she's not as bad as the bug-eyed bandit from season 4.
Yeah, no, she's not that bad. Okay, so for me, what I think about Mia, my thoughts on Mia, she's okay for me. I can tolerate her. I don't hate her like many people do, like you do, or hate maybe is a strong word. I don't dislike her like many people do, like you do. I think there's definitely room for improvement. So she's not the worst character at all. There's so many other worst characters. But regarding Mia, I think her problem is that, like you said, they're trying to set up Green Arrow and the Canaries, or whatever the show is going to be called. I don't know. They're using Arrow's final season to set up that show, and it's really, the final season of Arrow should be about Oliver, should be about solely Oliver, and Mia is taking up a lot of that screen time, which many people, myself included, don't like. But I still think her character is decent. Like, for example, the latest episode, many people had a big problem with this episode, and we'll get to that in a short while. Many people had a problem with that episode, but for me, I feel like that episode I liked the episode, basically. Many people didn't like it, and I feel like her reasonings for feeling the way she felt in this episode were quite strong, I felt. And I tweeted out the other day, I don't get the hate around this episode, Arrow season 8 episode. What episode was it now? 7? No.
5.
Oh yeah, 5. I don't get the hate towards it because, like I said, I liked it, I enjoyed it. And so I think you were one of the ones who said you didn't like this episode, correct?
No, I like this episode.
Oh, you did?
I like this episode. I did have... It is one of my least favourite of the season. It might be my least favourite of the season. I do have issues with it. Like I say, mainly coming from the kids. And the Diggle and Roy storyline. Again, not the storyline itself. I actually liked it. I liked the storyline with Diggle and Roy. I don't think it should have been Diggle in that role, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I liked the episode overall. Like, I liked the fact that it kind of threw back to season 5, going back to Russia and things like that. Like, being in that fight club really felt like those season 5 flashbacks, which I don't know what the general consensus is of the season 5 flashbacks, but I quite like them. And it kind of, reminded me of that, like, especially like having Anatoly back. I love Anatoly.
Yeah.
Having him there. So yeah, I like the episode overall.
Yeah, definitely. Same with me. Do you know what people were criticizing the episode about? Those who really hated it.
No.
Okay, have you heard about any criticisms towards Mia from this episode?
Well, nothing above the usual.
Really? Okay, fair enough. Because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter just outright rant against this episode for some reason, not really given a specific reason. It was obviously mainly towards Mia because
I mean,
yeah,
there is a scene in this episode with Mia that really grinded my gears because I've actually just rewatched this episode just before recording this, and there's a scene where when Oliver tells her and William to stay put when he goes to the Fight Club,
yeah,
to go and do that deal with that Russian mobster, and he says stay here, it's too dangerous, blah blah blah, and then they show up anyway. And then obviously we see Mia and Oliver get captured and tied to a chair. Now, the conversation that follows this is so frustrating because Oliver is arguing with her, saying, you should have stayed put, you should have listened to me, I had it under control. And Mia responds by saying, well, clearly you didn't because we're tied to a chair. What she's failing to mention there is the fact that the reason why they're in that situation is because she showed up. She's the one who got captured.
Yeah, that's true. That's
it's
true.
Her fault.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't think about that.
It completely contradicts. And she's so headstrong, and she's so. And I understand sometimes they try and play it as, oh well, she was like Oliver when he was young and when he first started out. But she's so irreprehensible. I like to compare it to obviously last season on The Flash we had Nora, very similar storyline where we had Nora coming back to the present day. Barry was there training with her, looking after her. They're building a relationship, and sometimes she'd do something wrong. Barry'd be disappointed, things like that. But the reason why Nora worked for me and Mia doesn't is because every time Nora would do something wrong, she would always have a good reason for doing so, and also she would be very apologetic if it did go wrong, and she'd be able to accept the fact that she had done something wrong, which creates development. Mia, every time she does something wrong, she cannot accept it. She cannot accept the fact that she's done something wrong. She always tries to get in the head of the audience that she is right when she isn't. And that's what is annoying about her character. That's what makes her annoying as a character, is that she's not able to admit her own mistakes. Like a character like Nora, who was able to do that last season on The Flash. Again, a lot of people didn't like Nora. I like Nora myself. But I think that Nora was a lot more relatable and a lot more likable because she was able to accept those mistakes and build upon them. Mia can't do that, and that's what makes her annoying to me.
In Mia's defense, where did she get it from?
Exactly, that's what I mean, and that's what they try and pass it off as. They try and pass it off as like, oh, well, it's Oliver's daughter, so, But again, I don't buy that, and also even Oliver was never this bad.
Yeah.
Oliver's a dick, but he was never that bad.
Yeah, I agree. Oliver was never that stubborn, I agree.
No.
No. Okay, so...
I'm getting very heated, I need to calm down.
Yeah, you can go on all day if I let you. Okay, so list out all, if you haven't already listed them out, all of the reasons why you don't like Mia, besides the ones you mentioned already, if there are still some reasons.
I think that it's the whole idea of this isn't really a problem with the character per se. It's more of a personal thing and a fanboy thing. But the idea that she is going to take up the mantle of the Green Arrow, I don't really feel like that's earned at this point. The idea of her coming in and literally taking up the mantle, she's going to be. It seems like based on what we know, she is going to be calling herself Green Arrow, and that's going to be the way that's going to go. I don't like that idea. I don't think she's earned that necessarily. I don't think we can really buy into her, especially because the character is so poorly written and so poorly developed at this point. It's hard to kind of get behind that idea. I just feel like that this whole idea of building a spin-off around this character is kind of frustrating to me when we could have, especially because Laurel is going to be in this spin-off. Laurel is a character who's been here from the very beginning. I mean, obviously this is Earth 2 Laurel, but she's still been in the show. This character's still been there. And even Earth 2 Laurel has been here since season 5. We have a lot more development there, and they've really developed Laurel a lot in the last couple of seasons. I think Laurel is the best character on the show right now, honestly.
Of two Laurel.
To build a spin-off around her would be a lot more beneficial, and fans would get behind that a lot more, except the Odyssey fans, obviously. I think people would get behind that because we can really buy into that character. Fans love Laurel at the moment, especially me. Whereas Mia, bringing in this character who's so brash and so irresponsible, it's difficult to get behind that character. And given the fact that the Green Arrow is such a famous name among the DC universe, especially within the Arrowverse, to have this character that isn't particularly popular taking up that mantle, it just feels like, the fans are a bit like, we don't want this. This is not the character we want doing this. Like, yeah, I just don't think it's a good idea, personally.
Speaking of Laurel, I don't know if you saw this tweet that I retweeted the other day. One Twitter user called the Twitter handle is called Crying Canary 22. She posted a tweet in January 2017. I don't even know how I found this tweet, but it was funny. Okay, so it was a series of tweets from... Oh, no, not a series of tweets, just 2 tweets. One from Gail Simeone and Mark Guggenheim. So Gail Simeone said, "Dear Arrow, ... don't screw up Dinah Lance." This was in...
Oh, I see.
Yeah. This was in all the way back in 2012. And then Mark Guggenheim says, "We won't promise." And then it zooms into the promise word. And then it cuts to the picture of Laurel dead. That was so funny.
Yeah, I did see that tweet.
I laughed out so loud at that. It was so funny. So, speaking of Earth 1 Laurel or Earth 2 Laurel?
I prefer Earth 2 Laurel.
Yeah.
I just like her personality more. I think she has a bit more of an edge to her, and I like that. I mean, I'm a big fan of Earth 1 Laurel as well. I liked her. Apparently, she's coming back in Crisis, according to Marky Mark.
Yeah. That's I saw that.
We'll have to see how that goes. But I definitely do like Earth 2 Laurel more. I just like her, especially because she's had such a good journey on the show at this point, from when she was introduced to where she is now. And I just feel like every episode, especially this season, and last season, to be fair, she just knocks it out of the park every single time. Like, she always has the best lines. I think she honestly might be the best actress on the show right now, like up there with like David Ramsey. She's just really great. So yeah, I love Black Siren. I think she's awesome. Oh well, I guess she's just Laurel now.
Yeah, she's not Black Siren anymore.
No.
Nah. But yeah, I agree. Black Siren. Well, I just called her Black Siren.
It's just easier sometimes.
Yeah, it is easier because that's what distincts her from the others. But yeah, she's definitely the better version of Laurel, and I think the best Canary. Besides,
I agree with that.
What about Sarah's Canary when she was in the black suit?
See, I do like Sarah a lot, but for me, like, I just love Laurel in this role, especially like this version of Laurel. Like, Sarah was great. I do like Sarah a lot, and part of me does miss that version of Sarah, especially where, what Legends have done with that character, especially in recent years.
You don't like her now, from what they've done to her?
It's not that I don't like her. I just, particularly last season of Legends, they just kind of ruined all the characters, really. Except for like Constantine, that was the only one that stayed consistent.
Speaking of last season, I still haven't finished it yet, but I think I'm on the penultimate episode 14.
Well, I mean, if you're nearly finished, then you might as well. I was going to say don't bother, but if you're that close, then you might as well. But yeah, like Sarah on Legends is kind of a completely different character now to where she was, when she was on Arrow. But
yeah,
I do kind of miss that version. Because what's kind of funny is when you look at Legends last season, it was so far afield. Like, people often ask, why weren't the Legends in the crossover last year? It's because Legends now is so far afield and so tonally different to what the rest of the Arrowverse is, they just wouldn't fit in.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
And plus they have too many characters.
And they've got so many characters. Like, I mean, when we see Sarah, because we know Sarah and Ray are going to be in Crisis, like, I think Sarah, Ray, and Mick are the ones that we know are in Crisis. I don't know about the others.
Yeah, I don't...
And Constantine, I think, is in it as well.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see them show up again, see how they kind of play and how they react. I mean, I genuinely do believe Season 5 of Legends is really going to dial it back because of the really negative reception they had. But it is going to be strange. But yeah, I do miss the version of Sarah we had on Arrow. But I still put Earth 2 Laurel above Sarah.
To me, I really love Black Suit Sarah. So I'll put them on the same level.
Thing is, I love Dinah as well. I like Dinah a lot.
Yeah, I like Dinah, but she's not Earth 2 Laurel or Black Suit Sarah. No.
And I think Dinah as a character has had a lot of issues, especially in season 6 and 7.
Such as?
She had a lot of issues. I don't know if it's just because I love Juliana. You've met Juliana, haven't you?
No, I've seen her. Like I was literally a few meters away from her when I was in the line to meet Prometheus. Yeah, but so I took a video of her. She had her back turned against me. She was meeting a fan, so I took a video of her there. So she was
Yeah.
literally just right there in front of him. But I didn't meet her though.
Yeah, I did, and she's lovely. She's actually probably one of my favorite people I've met from Arrow. So I do like Dinah as well, but for me, it's definitely Earth 2 Laurel.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so now that we have agreed that Mia Smoak has some issues, but at the same time there's a little bit of positivity, let's talk about the Flash. Now, this is going to be very brief because I don't want to spend as much time as we used to or as we usually do on the podcast. So, regarding this episode of The Flash, in as brief as you can, what do you think about this episode?
It was filler, but it was fun. Like you could honestly take this episode out of the season, make no difference. But I have to say, it did take me a couple of minutes to kind of sink into it because this episode is obviously so on the nose and it's so Bond referential. But once you kind of sink into it, if you allow yourself to kind of sink into it, it's very fun. I like the episode. I like these episodes where Barry and Ralph get to team up and to go on missions. Like there was an episode like this last season, which again was complete filler, but I quite liked it. And this is the same. I enjoyed the Bond stuff. I like the dialogue in this episode. The dialogue's very funny. Like it's very. I've seen some people say it's kind of cringy, but I think it's because I think it's so self-aware that it's not cringe. Like it's so aware of what it's doing. So I liked it, and I think this had a lot of really good stuff. I wasn't a huge fan of the Chester and Cecile storyline. I think that could have been taken out, but other than that, I really like the stuff with Barry and Ralph. I like that storyline. I loved the stuff with Nash and Allegra. I think there's a lot of stuff going on there. I think there could be something really interesting in regards to like Nash and his backstory. So yeah, I liked it. And Danielle, of course, directed this episode. She was great. So
I know Chester's not an important character, but I actually quite like him. I actually quite like him.
It's just the storyline felt completely superfluous to me. Like you could have completely removed that.
Yeah, definitely, obviously. So
I think it's because they're trying to set him up. It seems like he might be joining the team, and I think they were trying to give him, just like a simple storyline so we can kind of gravitate towards him. I think that's what it was.
Probably. So my thoughts on this episode is that like you said, it's filler, but for me it's fun filler.
Yeah,
that's how I would describe it. It's fun filler. So it was just a fun episode. Obviously, it's not meant to be taken too seriously. I don't think. I don't know.
No.
So there's not really much to talk about this episode for me. As a filler episode, I'll give it maybe a 7. Maybe a 7's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But my
I think,
go on.
I think that this episode did have some things happen towards the end. Obviously with Barry getting recognised, Ralph kind of taking up the mantle of Central City's protector and things like that. And like I say, I think there is some interesting stuff with Nash in this episode. But besides that, yeah, this episode is pretty filler.
Definitely. I think regarding what was I going to say now? I totally blanked out. My mind just blanked out right now. Okay, say something whilst I can remember what I was going to say.
Well, what I would like to talk about briefly is the idea that did you notice that in those Nash and Allegra scenes, like he seems to be becoming really protective of her, and he seems to be, like she says, "Oh, do I remind you of something?"
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she's a daughter on another Earth.
See, I think it could be. I think on whatever Earth Nash is from, I don't think we've been told what Earth he's from. But whatever Earth he's from, I think that Allegra could be maybe like his adopted daughter or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Because obviously it wouldn't be his biological daughter, because obviously that would be Jessie, obviously. But I think that maybe on whatever Earth he's from, he might have adopted Allegra, and I think that's what it is, because they seem to have this bond and this connection, and he seems very much out to protect her. I tell you what, Allegra's become a very, very big character on the show, which I did not expect. I thought she was going to be like a completely pointless side character, but she's actually like got a role. I think she might be a regular.
Is she a regular?
I don't know if she is a regular, but she's kind of getting that role. So
Okay.
that's interesting. But yeah, that's kind of the thing that stuck out to me most in this episode, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough.
I quite like Nash a lot. He's quickly becoming one of my favourite Wellses.
Really? How would you rank the Wells?
I'd have HR at the bottom. Then Sherlock. Then I'd probably have Nash at this point. Then I'd have like Eobard Thorn Wells and Harry.
Okay, so with me, Eobard Thorne Wells number 1, Harry Wells 2. Nash has the potential to be 3, but we haven't really seen much of him yet.
Yeah.
So I would say 4 for now. So 3 will be HR, 5 will be Sherlock.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to put Nash a bit lower down at this point.
Yeah.
Like I say, he has the potential, but so far from what I've seen with him, I really liked him. Whereas, like in comparison to like Sherlock, for example, when he first showed up, it took me a while to warm up to him. Like that was just me personally. It took a while to kind of get up to speed with this character, but Nash I've kind of fallen into pretty quickly. I like him a lot. I like his personality. I think it plays to Tom Cavanagh's comedic strengths quite well.
You think so? You think so?
I think so, yeah. I think that he... Because obviously Tom Cavanaugh is really funny. And I think that this particular version of Wells just plays off of that comedic sense very well. So I think it's kind of perfect for Tom, really.
Okay, fair enough. So what would you rate the episode?
I'd probably say... I mean, if I'm looking at it like purely objectively, I'd probably give it like a 5 or a 4. Just because, again, it's completely superfluous. There's really nothing of note that happens despite like the last like couple of minutes. But if I'm just talking purely from fun, I'd say it's like a 7.
One thing we've been lacking is, for the past like 2 episodes, is a lack of Flash. Actual Flash.
Yeah, like he shows up in this episode for like a bit. Yeah,
exactly. So I hope like now in the next like few episodes we get more Flash, because that's been missing for me in the last few episodes.
Yeah. And well, I mean, next episode is like the part 1 of Crisis, so it's kind of like the prelude to Crisis. So I think we will.
Before we wrap up here, I want to give a shout out to Black Lightning this season. Have you seen any episodes of Black Lightning this season?
No, I am still way behind in season 2.
Okay. I would encourage you to watch Black Lightning season 3, because in my opinion, it's the second best Arrowverse show this season.
See, I have heard a lot of people saying a lot of positive things about it.
Now, yeah, exactly. Like, it's very good this season. Like, second place is tied between Black Lightning and The Flash. I'm leaning more towards Black Lightning in second and Flash third right now. But before, it would have been Flash. Like, the first few episodes of Flash were very good. But yeah, Black Lightning this season is, trust me, watch it and you won't regret it. It's very good. I don't want to give much away about it, but it's very interesting, and it's a storyline that hasn't really happened. You haven't really seen in the Arrowverse yet, in my opinion. I don't think. So yeah, you should definitely check it out.
I definitely want to. Like I said, I've kind of been watching it in season 2, and then I kind of just fell behind around the mid-season point, to the point where I got so far behind, I was like, I've kind of just like given up. Because season 2 didn't really grab me personally. I don't know how you feel about season 2, but it kind of didn't really grab me. Like, because season 1 I was like so into. I loved season 1. Season 2 just kind of lost me, but you know, I will jump back on it. I think because it's on Netflix, so I'll get back to it.
But anyway, what do you guys think? That wraps up pretty much everything we're going to talk about in this podcast. What do you think about Mia Smoak? Do you like her? Do you hate her? What are the reasons why you hate her, and what are the reasons why you like her? Is she the worst Arrowverse character? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you. I was about to call you Ben again. I should really not do that.
How long has it been since I've been on this show?
Ben was on it last time, so that's probably why. So maybe when Ben comes on, I'll probably call him Declan. I don't know. But yeah, thank you, Declan, for coming on. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. And what do you guys think about any of the topics we discussed? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to DC Central. I will leave his link in the description down below. And I'll see you guys later for more podcast videos.